friends and foes. Hello and welcome to ROG Pulse, your inside look at what's happening behind the scenes of the Republic of Gamers. What'd you think of the new intro, Whitson?
That was, calling our viewers foes is a choice.
There may be foes in chat. I don't know what other manufacturers out there are lurking in the shadows,
That's
jealous
true.
of the new
Our
Xbox Ally.
competitors are
Whitson, I gotta ask you, man. Last week you were in Cologne, Germany for Gamescom. What'd you think?
Dude, it was awesome. So it was my first Gamescom. I'd never been before. You've been. It was wild. It is very different than going to like CES or Computex because those are industry events. This is like a fan event. It's much more like Comic-Con or something. There's like people in costumes and all these big booths where they're announcing the latest games and things like that. It was really, really fun. Really busy, but really
Understatement.
fun.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
words cannot
But
express the insanity of that city when Gamescom is happening. Like,
yeah, I had a lot to do too. I was running back and forth between the two booths. So usually we don't have a booth out on the show floor, but we did this year. But we also were on the boat. We had a boat where a lot of our stuff was for like some media. I think there was like a fan event there. Really, really cool. But I was going back and forth between them a lot because I had like presentations and stuff I was giving at both. But it was fun. Yeah. So in our main booth, we had a whole bunch of allies. I don't actually know how many, but it had to have been like 30 or 40 allies just like out on the floor. Like this zone playing Forza, this zone playing Hogwarts Legacy, this zone playing Doom the Dark Ages. Like there was a whole bunch of different games on display that you could go play on the Xbox Ally and Xbox Ally X. We had Ned Luke and Sean Fontino, aka Michael and Franklin from Grand Theft Auto 5 were there to hang out, which was really fun. And yeah, it was a good time. The coolest part, obviously, for me, obviously we launched a lot of other stuff besides kind of announcing the Xbox Ally. But and we'll talk about a little bit about that later in the show. But the most fun part was seeing everyone's like first impressions of the Xbox Ally. Now that this was the first time like the public was able to get their hands on with it, a lot of media were coming and getting kind of their second look or maybe their first deep look at it. So that was really cool. There were some new announcements for the Ally. So if those of you haven't followed along, we've got links in the show notes of all of the stuff that we announced. But Xbox talked a little bit more about the handheld compatibility program. Which will show like handheld optimized, meaning the game is like ready to play out of the box on your Ally, or it'll show mostly compatible, which means that it's mostly good, but may require a few small tweaks, like changing a graphics setting to improve performance, or maybe increasing the text size or something like that. For optimal handheld usage. But I think like that program is going to be really nice. It'll also have information about that kind of implies frame rate. So it will say should perform well on your device if it's like a 30 FPS experience, and it'll say should perform great on your device if it's like aiming for a 60 FPS experience.
and you can see some of that phrasing already in the Xbox application on PC, but that's just really nice to have that built in and tuned for the allies, especially.
Yes, exactly. A lot of what Microsoft is doing is really targeting the experience on this device and making sure that you understand like what games are going to play well out of the box, what games are going to be like streaming or whatever, right? They also announced, this is like one of those kind of nerdy things, but it's really, really exciting in my opinion, is that Microsoft announced that they are working on advanced shader delivery for through the Microsoft or through the Xbox app for the ROG Xbox Ally and Ally X. So those of you that don't know what that is, when you launch a game, you probably have seen that window that says like compiling shaders, please wait. And it'll be this bar. And maybe it takes like 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. And sometimes it only does that the first time you launch a game, or maybe when you update the game or update your drivers. It's only occasionally, should be. And what that's doing is that it's compiling the shaders for your specific like GPU and hardware, so that when you're playing the game, it doesn't have to compile them on the fly. Some games don't do that at the beginning when you first launch a game. They try to get you right into the game, but they will compile those shaders on the fly, which can sometimes lead to like hitching and stuttering if it's not done well. And so you've got these two different solutions, neither of which is necessarily ideal because people don't like having to wait a long time before they play the game, and people don't like the game stuttering while they're playing either. What this will do is because it knows the hardware, that knows the Xbox Ally hardware, and it's kind of targeting this, it will already have the shaders precompiled and downloadable. And when you download and install the game, it will just bring you the shaders as well. So you don't have to necessarily wait when you launch the game, and it won't, the game will play smoother. So that's super, super exciting. It's just one more like brick on the wall of more seamless, more console-like experience on the Xbox Ally, which is really what we're going for. Like that's the main thing we're trying to work on with this particular device. So yeah, I'm really excited about that personally.
That's huge. Yeah. I mean, anything that gets you into the game faster is welcome.
Yeah. Especially for a handheld, because a handheld is like pick up and play, right? Like you want to be able to So, we also, obviously, you guys have probably seen that we announced the release date. It is coming October 16th with pricing and pre-order information coming soon. I already see people asking about this in chat. We are not announcing that just yet, but soon. Keep an eye out in the next few weeks and stuff. So, so it was cool to see people get hands-on with it because we got a lot of like first impressions and like initial questions from people. Like, one of the things that a lot of people said to me, and I'm curious to see whether this was your impression too when you first held it, Jake. Hey, Twitch chat's back. Yay.
It's been there.
Oh, okay. I just hadn't reloaded it. A lot of people were like, this feels really lightweight. Like it feels lighter than the Ally X.
It's kind of amazing, honestly. Let me just jump in and because people may not have heard my statements on this. I got to try the Xbox Ally a few months ago, and I was thoroughly impressed by it because I did like an 8-hour gaming session on one day playing Cleric Spear Expedition 33, amazing game. And normally I can't do a 3 to 4 hour session even on an Ally X because my hands cramp. I've got larger hands. It just didn't feel great, but it also felt lighter, not just ergonomics, but weight. And it's impressive.
So it's a little bit of a not an optical illusion, but like it's an illusion created by your brain because it is the ergonomics, right? This is what's interesting. Okay. So because it's the ROG Xbox Ally X is not lighter than the ROG Xbox Ally, but it does feel lighter when you pick it up. And part of that, or a big portion of that, is the ergonomics, right? So when you're holding the Ally or the Ally X, you're kind of like propping it up on your hands like this, right? Because you don't have like your hands aren't wrapping around the grips. And this is especially true of the Ally, although the Ally is lighter, right? You're very much like resting it on your palms. With those new curved grips on the side of the Xbox Ally, right, that are kind of designed to make it feel like an Xbox controller, having that grip to wrap your hand around means that your hand is not like doing as much like squeezing. It's not like actually bearing as much of the weight of the device.
You're holding it.
And it's not just more comfortable, it feels lighter. And I had multiple people come up to me and be like, okay, this is lighter, right? And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
And the other big part of that is just the balance of the internals. Like they've done a really good job of making sure that the battery and the fans and all the different like components that add weight to the device are balanced in such a way that like both from side to side and from top to bottom, that it just like kind of sits perfectly in your hands. That kind of stuff. This sounds like a weird like marketing like fake thing, but it really is. It's funny how many people came up to me and asked, is this lighter?
It's not, but
yeah,
it genuinely
pretty cool.
Is so much more comfortable in both just the distribution of weight and like you said, it feels like you're holding it rather than grabbing it, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm giving my Ally like a squeeze grip sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, exactly. You're not like holding it as much with your hands as it is like resting in your hands. Like distributing the weight better across like your arms and stuff probably.
It's cool to hear that people are feeling the same way. That's nice.
Yeah, so that was like a fun thing to explain to people because I kind of nerd out about some of that kind of design stuff. Our team thought through a lot of really cool stuff there. A lot of people asked, is this the Ally 2? Which we have talked about on the stream before, but I know not everyone watches the stream. Yes, this is the Ally 2. I'm going to repeat that. I mentioned this earlier this year. Like last year when we were talking about like what a potential Ally 2 might look like, I did say that like we don't know what it's called. We were just like calling it that. Mm-hmm. This is the next gen Ally successor. when we partnered with Xbox, the name became the ROG Xbox Ally, but this is the way forward for us. So I just, a few people asked that, wanted to continue to make that clear. Some people asked, like, okay, because this is what everyone does. The new generation isn't even out yet. And people are like, but what about the next generation?
Who knows?
Is that going to still continue this same design? Is it going to be, like all this stuff? At the end of the day, like someone asked me that, I think it was PC Gamer asked me that in an interview, and I was like, well, the crystal ball is giving me an error right now, so I don't know. What it really is at the end of the day, feedback from you guys is what drives almost everything we do. And I think that we've really shown that, especially those of you that have watched this stream know that we've proven that with the original Ally and the Ally X. What are you laughing about so much?
Somebody says Ally PS5 question mark. I'm like, the absurdity of that statement. Like, PS5 is not PC. Xbox and PC actually makes sense, right?
Yeah, it's true. Because Microsoft's been in the PC space since the beginning, since before Xbox.
Yeah.
So I think that we've really shown with the Ally and Ally X that your guys' feedback drives everything we do. That's true of all of the hardware improvements that we made to the Ally X. Everything we did to this was addressing feedback that you guys have, from the battery to the ergonomics to the thumbsticks and all of that other kind of stuff. And in the software improvements that we've made over the last 2 years, including the software improvements that we're making to this device by partnering with Microsoft and making this more console-like experience. That was like the top piece of feedback that we still have, which is why we did this.
Yeah.
So as much as I would love to predict what's going to happen next gen and the gen after that, whatever, a lot of it is going to be about what you guys tell us you want. And within reason, right? Whatever's practically feasible for us to fit into a reasonably priced device, as always. That's stuff you can go to every Ally-related Q&A we've ever done, and a lot of it is what you guys ask for, as long as it makes sense and fits into the price point that we're trying to target to get it into as many of your hands as possible.
Yeah, someone in chat says, what about screen size? This is the kind of feedback we're talking about. We've heard people talking about that. We hear you, and these are the kind of things that go into consideration when it comes to developing, the next generation and so on. Doesn't mean any changes are going to happen, but it's heard and it gets pushed up the chain.
Yeah, it's again, like there is a bigger picture, right? If you go for a bigger screen, you do also kind of have to make the device bigger, which is a little bit tough, and so we kind of have to start balancing that and how that will affect the overall sales of the device. There is kind of a lot going on.
Cost, size, weight. There's all these different factors, right?
Yeah.
So.
And cost is just such a big one, because you see people talking about all the time, like, this has to be reasonably priced. This has to be reasonably priced. And while some of that is out of our control, especially these days, it's we have to balance everything that we're putting in, the features, with the final cost of the device. Because while a lot of people would gladly pay like $1,200+ for a device with all of the bells and whistles, most people won't. And so we have to kind of factor that in. We do have 2 SKUs to try and kind of bridge that gap, but we know there's room on both sides of that too. You kind of have to, there's only so many SKUs we can make, especially this early in the life of the handheld ecosystem.
Yeah, that's for sure.
CPPC Tech says, I'd love to see adjustable trigger stops for FPS shooters. That's a really good example of something that would be awesome, probably wouldn't be used by most people. So it's not something that we generally, like, that's something.
Can you justify the cost for that? Like, yeah. It's like,
but the ROG Raichiri 2 does have that. So if you're playing with a separate, like, we do sell a controller that has a lot of those bonus features for those people. And we can talk about that controller a little bit later. A lot of people talking about the Xbox full screen experience, being more controller friendly and things like that. Dude, it's not just within the Xbox app, it's Windows itself becoming more controller friendly too. Like, when you first turn it on, that whole like setup process,
which
the
is
first time
so
device,
needed. Yeah, that's so
all
needed.
more controller friendly. You can enter your pin with buttons on the gamepad.
Yeah.
So instead of like having like numbers, you can be like left trigger, right trigger, AX, BY, and have that be your pin or whatever, right? And super cool.
That's the kind of stuff that sells me that, like, yeah, Microsoft is taking this really seriously on bringing Windows to be this evolved handheld experience, which is, for me, my number one want with the Ally. I was already so happy with the Ally X, right? So it's like, okay, how do we get this better software? Microsoft seems to be killing
One of the
it.
things a lot of people have asked for was being able to navigate the keyboard, the on-screen keyboard, with the sticks and buttons, and that's coming as well. I personally prefer to use the touchscreen, but like again, that's it can
Yeah,
kind of
see,
give
I
you guys
don't.
multiple ways
That's where
to
we
do it.
differ. I would absolutely prefer to do it with just the controller and scanning through. I'm so good at it, man. After all those years of,
You've been doing it for longer than I have.
yeah, I used to play Fantasy
I
Star Online on like the GameCube, right? They're just like typing to people in
Oh
chat.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really bad when it comes to stuff like that. Like because I've been a desktop PC gamer for most of my life. I just started gaming on a gamepad primarily like a couple of years ago. So
Yeah.
but again, like that's the beauty is like giving you multiple ways to do it, but making sure that you don't have to like plug in a keyboard and mouse, which I don't feel like I do with this, but I know some people do because they don't like using the touchscreen or whatever. More ways to do it on device, that's better. A
Agreed.
lot of people are continuing to ask, hey, is this Xbox full screen experience going to come to the original Ally and Ally X? We talked about this earlier this year, but I still get the question all the time. Yes, our goal is to bring at least most of those software improvements to the original Ally and Ally X as well. Those are still supported devices. Now, is it all going to come in one like massive update? Probably not. You may have already seen a few small things start to roll out in Windows updates, and you'll see more roll out as time goes on. So certain things you may get sooner, certain things you may get later. I see a lot of like kind of rumors going around that like, oh, they said that these features would come like at this part of the year or whatever. Like, I don't think we've announced anything like that. It's just like as Microsoft rolls some of those things out to wider windows, it'll come to the Ally and Ally X, and then some of the more hardware specific stuff. We want to make sure that we get it out to the Xbox Ally series first, and then once we have time to like go tweak those things for the hardware on the original Ally and Ally X, we're going to try and get those rolled out to these as well. I don't have like a date or anything. It's just that some things will come sooner, some things will come later. But these are we're not discontinuing support on these yet, so you'll get good stuff.
Huge.
Yeah. One thing that some people asked, and I think this is a really good question, is okay, so you've got this Xbox full screen experience, right? And it has this unified library. It doesn't just have your games from the Xbox store, but it also has games from other stores, right? Like Battle.net and Steam or whatever. So with that serving as the new library, what purpose does Armory Crate serve?
It's a good question.
It is a good question, but here's the thing: keep in mind that while we did like kind of do that unified library in Armory Crate, it did serve that role, but Armory Crate did a lot more than that too.
True.
Because this is really specific hardware. This isn't just like a PC. Armory Crate managed power profiles like silent performance and turbo mode. It managed joystick sensitivity, RGB lighting. All of those device-specific settings that Armory Crate handles today will still live in Armory Crate
Software
on the
updates
Xbox
in
Ally.
there.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff. And like Command Center, right? That's integrated into Game Bar, but Command Center is still our software being integrated into Game Bar. It's kind of the merging of these two things.
Yeah.
And you'll get quick access to the full Armory Crate app from within Xbox if you want to go like tweak the joystick sensitivity curves or things like that.
Perfect.
Right. Because those things are device specific, and so it makes sense for them to kind of live in our own app still. So that still exists. It still serves a purpose. It's just that most people are going to be managing their library through the Xbox app now rather than Armory Crate, I imagine. Question from Super User: will you be able to make Armory Crate the default launcher after the system boots up? Like if you wanted to keep the library in Armory Crate instead of using Xbox, could you do that? I don't have a final answer on that. I believe that is something that we're considering. I think the majority of people are going to really like the Xbox full screen experience on this, and that's kind of where we're putting a lot of our development effort and stuff like that. With
Saves
Microsoft.
a lot of resources, big benefit, right?
Yeah. But the Armory Crate library may still be there. I'm not positive. I don't have my personal sample yet. But I'm hoping to have it soon so I can start generating some content for you guys so that day one we have all of our guides out and all of that stuff for you to kind of get acquainted with the system.
Nice.
One of the biggest questions that I'm seeing here is, does it feature improvements to sleep and resume? I know this is a big one for people. So
I see that in chat a lot.
Yeah. So my understanding is that Microsoft has done some fine tuning to sleep. Like sleep mode should use less power on the ROG Xbox Ally and things like that. But it isn't quite like like quick resume on the Xbox just yet. That's one of those things that if it were to come in the future, that would take a lot of work to kind of fit that into Windows's existing framework for sleep. Like just a lot of work needs to be done to make that work as seamlessly as you would want it to. But that said, like I want to make this very clear. We know that that is one of your top requests, guys. We know people want seamless sleep and resume. We know you guys want to be able to play as many games as possible from your library and this. We know all that stuff, right? Like I said earlier, we hear every piece of feedback and every request that you guys are posting. We absolutely see it. And I hope you guys know by now. I hope we've proven in the past that we are always listening and that we do as much as we can to bring those requests into the experience. Not always in the exact way that is requested, because again, we do have a bigger picture that we need to keep our eyes on. But we do a lot to try and make sure that your feedback is heard and materializes in some way, shape, or form. Now, which of those requests are going to materialize in the future and when and in what form, that I can't yet say, right? All I'm saying is that we know what your top requests are. We take that feedback really seriously. We always have. We've always tried to deliver on as much as we feasibly can, as I said earlier. So again, this is not the end for this device, right? We're going to hopefully continue updating stuff on this as we have for everything. But yeah. When can we see performance numbers? Closer to launch. People always ask this. They're always like, the device is out in 8 weeks. Can't we see all the, the benchmarks and stuff? You got to remember that performance is a function of not just the chip in this thing, but the drivers and the software and all of that stuff. So we don't really release any official performance numbers or that's why we have a performance embargo, right? To make sure that everyone's on a level playing field and make sure that the software and drivers and everything are in the final kind of close to what you'll get on day one state. So that's why, there aren't a ton of performance numbers out there for this specific device. But when that day comes, like, trust me, we'll shout it from the rooftops because we're excited.
Yeah.
For games that are primarily keyboard and mouse, can we map keys? Yes. That's actually a feature that we already have on the Xbox and Ally X. You can absolutely use the gamepad in keyboard mode and kind of map buttons to keys as needed. It works better in some games than others, but it's just like one of those. Again, we're trying to give you all the tools that you can to play as many games as you can. If a game doesn't build in controller compatibility, we'll give you the tools to try and do the best you can with that. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on some.
Yeah, I don't think there's
questions here anyway. I see a lot of people excited for it, so that's making me happy.
I mean, rightfully so. And the review, I've watched a lot of the reviews online. Everybody seems pretty stoked.
Yeah, I mean, the reaction from people on the floor who were playing it and the reaction from media has been pretty overwhelmingly positive. People are really excited about it. Everyone is kind of raving about the general feel of the device, the ergonomics. They say that games feel really good on it. They're really excited about a lot of the changes that are coming to like that Xbox full screen experience is just generally a good experience. And I agree. I'm super psyched about all this. One thing that a lot of people have asked, and I don't think it's people that are really watching the stream, but I'm going to answer it anyway, because I see this question all the time on like Reddit and stuff is, can I install Windows on it if I want to? Or like how does Windows, like a lot of questions about how Windows works. And I think a lot of people are kind of overcomplicating it in their heads. It's just Windows. Like this thing is just running Windows, and the Xbox app can go full screen and do some of this kind of cool, unique stuff on top of it. But that's like a lot of that is a function of the Xbox app and its integration with Windows. At the end of the day, you can drop down into Windows and do anything.
Right.
You can install mods into your games. You can install whatever applications you want. You can still plug it in and use it as like a desktop PC if you want to with a monitor and keyboard. Like it is straight up Windows.
Here's how I like to look.
But with more features.
Right. So, but here's how I like to look at it. This device, as a PC user, gives you everything that you want as a PC user, but this device is infinitely more approachable to someone that isn't a PC user. For example, my little brother cannot use Windows to save his life. This kid plays consoles. He knows the Xbox interface, and he gets that. So by giving users that are not necessarily PC users the ability to boot into this Xbox experience without ever having to really go into the Windows platform too much, if at all, that's a big benefit for noobs, if I can just say it that way, right? Because there are people that aren't necessarily going to be familiar with that Windows experience. So that's where I see a lot of
It's the best of both worlds.
yeah, you get everything you want as a PC user, but you also get a more efficient gaming interface that's going to be more convenient, more efficient in terms of resources, using way less memory, right? What the background is disabled, the taskbar is disabled, bunch of different, Windows operations are basically frozen in the background when you launch in this application. And that's just giving you more of that RAM to use towards your VRAM or whatever.
Yeah. 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 And that's another thing that's, people like saying, oh, I wish I had a little bit more VRAM. Like,
There you go.
hey, here you go. I'm sorry, Twitch is being a little bit weird, so I'm having to reload it manually, and I can't scroll up, so I may have missed some questions, but one I see here is does it count as an Xbox or a PC when it comes to buying games? So it counts as like it treats it as Windows
PC.
with the Xbox app, right? Like, so if you're buying PC versions of those games from the Xbox store, if you own games on Xbox that aren't Play Anywhere, you could still like stream those with Xbox Cloud Streaming, or you can remote play them from your Xbox console, like from your living room to your Ally or whatever, things like that. We're trying to build in ways to make sure that you can play as many of your games as possible. Again, like what the future holds, I don't know, but
It's only going to get better. But yeah,
my hope is, and look, like I also, like, credit to Microsoft, has made a really, really big push for Play Anywhere for this reason, right? Like, this is something they're putting a lot of their kind of time and resources into. Like, look at the new Gears of War Reloaded, that they gave a copy of Gears of War Reloaded to anyone who had bought the Ultimate Edition, because they're trying to make sure that people have their as much of their libraries are Play Anywhere as possible. And they're working with developers to make that happen.
During their show at Gamescom, pretty much every title was Play Anywhere. Like, that was the theme of the show. They're like, oh, by the way, that game was Play Anywhere. It's like, yeah, this is their new initiative, right? Making sure that everything is Play Anywhere. That way you can use it on PC, Xbox, and of course, Xbox Ally.
Yep. That's the whole idea. So, are there going to be options for docking accessories? Yes, we didn't actually like really show this off a ton at Gamescom. We have the dock, the ROG Bulwark dock, which you can see on our site already. I think Jake has showed it off. He has one that can be used with the Ally. We also have a new hard case that we are launching alongside the Ally, and a new so Jake has the Bulwark dock, which is the one that like flips up and you can like stand your Ally on it. But we also have a new version of the gaming charger dock, which is just the brick that you plug into the wall and has a few different ports on it. We have a new version of that as well. That was kind of designed for this. But then, and we also have a new hard case, which I think is called, if you search Xbox Ally, I think it's called the premium case or premium hard case. ROG Xbox Ally 2-in-1 premium case. Yeah, because like part of the case detaches. It's kind of like this neat 2-in-1 system. So we're launching that alongside it as well, because it is a different shape and it's not going to fit obviously in the previous Ally cases that we had built for those older devices.
The Bulwark is the closest thing to, like, if you're thinking of like a Switch dock, that's the closest thing to that. This is just a traditional. This is the original one. It's just basically HDMI and USB. That connects in via your USB-C, splicing all those, giving you, the ability to connect to a monitor and then one USB device. I think the new one has 2 USB ports. That's the main difference on the new version of that, the new brick.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, I believe that was the difference. I think there's one more USB port on it.
Yeah. John Treacherous, the October 16th is the release date, not the pre-order date.
Pre-order date. We'll announce
be
soon with the price,
sooner.
right? Obviously. Yeah.
One question I got about that I've seen about the dock is, like, if I dock it, does it get better performance, right? Like, if I dock it to a TV, can I play in 4K, right? The answer is that while the dock will give you a small boost in TDP, much like just playing it plugged in, right? Like on the Xbox, the original Ally X, it's 25 watt. When you plug it in, you can get an extra 5 watts on the chip for a little bit of extra performance. The new version, I think, is going to have something similar. So when you dock it, you will get that benefit. If you want better, but it doesn't have like the dock doesn't have a GPU in it or anything like that, right? If you want a better performance or more like horsepower behind it to run it at a higher resolution on like a TV, you would want to grab our XG Mobile
Yes.
external GPU, which is not out yet, but should be coming. So that's going to be like the more premium. Like I want to dock this and have it be like a really high res experience on a TV because the chip in this is designed for a small device that because the wattage can't be as high in this because it's a handheld. And it's only a 1080p screen, so you don't need as much horsepower for a 7-inch 1080p screen as you do for a 65-inch 4K TV. So if you want that extra performance when you're plugging into a bigger screen like that, the XG Mobile is the way to go.
Must clarify though, this is for the 2025 XG Mobile. The previous versions
Yes.
will not work.
Correct, because it's a different
It's a new
different
connector,
connection
yeah.
system. You could also go with if you don't need it to be this size. Like the cool thing about the XG Mobile is that it is mobile, right? It's like the size of a hardcover novel, and you could throw it in a backpack and bring it with you places. If you don't need that, or you want even more horsepower, you could use our new XG Station dock as well, which is coming out, and that lets you put a full desktop graphics card into a dock and then plug that in via Thunderbolt 5 to your ROG Xbox Ally X, and use that. Now, I do have to mention it. That's only for the ROG Xbox Ally X. The white Xbox Ally does not have Thunderbolt. Again, like because that's one of those things where we're trying to keep the performance down. And in general, if someone's buying the more affordable handheld, they're probably not spending a ton of money on a dock for it. So it's just kind of trying to match up the use cases. Yeah, there you go. There's the XG Station 3. So you put like a 5080 or a 5090 in that bad boy, hook it up to your ROG Xbox Ally X, and you've got a sick kind of living room console situation.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you can go with the XG Mobile or you can go with that. It really just kind of depends on whether you want to be able to bring it with you, how much space you have, things like that. I personally would probably go with this myself to get the most performance. But if you want to be able to bring it with you, the XG Mobile is sick.
Yeah. So basically, there's two sides to that. Like this is just going to be better for at home. XG Mobile better for portability, but also you get more I/O ports with the XG Mobile, right? The XG Mobile is going to come with more USB ports on it. You get HDMI DisplayPort and 2 or Ethernet. four USB and then Ethernet. So it depends if you want that to be included in your setup.
That is definitely an advantage. Now you could, because you have 2 ports right on the top, if you're docking it, you could dock one to the XG Station and use the other one with like a USB hub or something like that has all of those ports on it. But then you're plugging in 2 things. So like there's trade-offs no matter which way you slice it. And it really just depends on your use case and what your needs are, because everyone's use case is going to be different once you start talking about docking it and doing all this other stuff, using it as a desktop PC, if you're going to do that.
Yeah. I'm actually not super familiar with the XG Station, but it looks like there's 2 USB-C ports right there. This is a product.
I actually haven't used it myself.
Yeah, I've never seen this in person
and stuff, but I've seen it in person, but I haven't like messed with it.
Yeah.
I'm sure one of those is the Thunderbolt port for connecting it to your device, but then you may be able to get extra IO out of that other one. I'm not actually sure.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool.
Sorry to the XG Station team that I may have.
I mean, this is a product that we haven't had a lot of time with yet. So
no, I know we haven't gotten hands on with it. So yeah. So I'm really excited, guys. Seeing all of the positive impressions have just like made me even more hyped. I just started playing Clair Obscur, and I'm really excited to hopefully get some time with that on the Xbox Ally, because Jake said it ran so well.
By the way, yeah, it's a phenomenal game on the just the regular Ally X even. They've confirmed that Clair Obscur is a series. So Expedition 33 is this one game, but Clair Obscur is going to be a full series.
I mean, look, how could it not be? It's probably going to be Game of the Year, right? Like
it better be, or Ball X Pit, one or the other. But
also a great game for the Ally, probably.
Yeah. The demo isn't as optimized as I'd like, but like 30 to 40 FPS, which is still great.
It's a demo.
Yeah.
All right. Should we talk about a few other things that we announced at Gamescom while we're talking about all this Gamescom stuff? Guys, thanks for like asking your questions about the ROG Xbox Ally. We're super excited. I know that we're going to be doing more shows on it, showing you guys how to use it, all of that good stuff. Jake will be streaming games from it, showing you the performance once we get a little bit closer to launch or at actual launch. This was so cool. So on the boat, we had this like museum of all of these old Asus graphics cards, going back to like the first Asus graphics card from 1996. Super awesome because it was our 30th anniversary of graphics cards. Um, so this year we launched a 30th anniversary ROG Matrix GeForce RTX 5090, and a lot of the design of it, which you'll see in a sec, was influenced by the cards of the past, especially that 9800 GT Matrix, the first Matrix we ever released. So in this video, this is my booth tour, which you'll find in the description. You can kind of see the changes in graphics cards over time, and then how that led to the final design of the new Matrix.
I paused the video just because I want to say I still think the 4090 Matrix is our peak. I think that is peak of any design we've done. Team, do you hear me? It's beautiful.
Well, that influenced a lot of the Astral. So
it's true. I love the Astral, but I think love that Matrix.
So the thing about the Matrix cards is that sometimes stuff from Matrix trickles down to the next gen, and sometimes a Matrix card is just a really unique card that totally stands on its own. And I think that that's what this is. And in fact, I think it stands out so much that almost you want to build an entire like PC around that card. Yeah. And there was a really cool, I don't think we have it in this video. You can keep playing and see if they show it. But you guys can see it like on our Instagram and stuff. Someone did built a case mod for us, like a full like custom PC with all of this like red kind of metal in it and stuff that perfectly showcases this card with kind of its like retro futuristic styling almost, because it's got that curve on the end, very similar to the original Matrix, but also very modern.
That's what I love about this. It feels like old school ROG, but nowadays, right? Like, it's like so perfectly executed for that. I mean, I thought this was like a fake mock-up when we first announced this. I was like, this isn't real. It's awesome.
No, it's pretty cool. And of course, it's got all of the innovations we've made over the years, right? Like the liquid metal and the Auto Extreme manufacturing product, like all of this different stuff that's got the 4 fans of the Astral, the max contact heatsink, like all of that stuff kind of coming together in the most powerful GPU we've ever built. That was really cool. And that's the other cool thing is it's BTF. So you can use it without cables, but if you plug it into a BTF motherboard and then also plug in the 16-pin cable, you can power it through both power connectors and get up to 800 watts on it.
What?
For overclocking. Which was a really cool solution.
So mine can't do that, right?
So clever. No, yours cannot do that. That is exclusive to the 30th anniversary edition.
Damn.
For now, at least. And then, of course, we were showing off a lot of our special edition cards from last year. There's the Hob edition, the Gold edition. We've got the Doom edition. And, of course, Hatsune Miku, which we launched a lot of new Hatsune Miku stuff at Gamescom. This is the other cool thing. The new Tandem OLED monitors are sick,
Pause,
you guys.
For Miku. Sorry, Riz.
So Tandem OLED, we're going to talk about this more maybe when we have one of these to show off, but Tandem OLED basically does this thing where it splits some of like the color layers into from 1 into 2. I'm not going to get too technical with it, but basically what it allows us to do with the monitor is make it more you get higher color volume, you get higher brightness, but you get both of those things with more efficiency. So it uses less power, which means you also have less risk of burn-in with higher brightness. Like it gives you, it's an upgrade across the board for everything you want in an OLED. And then we couple that with our new true black glossy finish that people have been loving so much.
And the back,
and it looks
look at that display,
freaking
like,
amazing.
Holy crap.
And because we wanted to show like the see-through back so you could see like the big heat sinks we put into our OLED displays to like help push the brightness and protect against burn-in. Like those are all things that make our OLEDs what they are. And so they thought it was really cool.
I'm going back a little bit just because just tell me how ridiculous this looked in person, because it's hard to do justice to this online.
It's
right?
The best OLED display for gaming that I've ever seen, because you're getting a lot of the benefits of like the QD OLED, but on a W OLED with that true black glossy. So the blacks are like perfectly black, but the colors still really pop and the brightness is amazing. Now, that said, our first Tandem OLED that we're dropping is this one. This is the Strix. So that was our ROG Swift monitor. This is the Strix OLED, which is the Swift is like our top of the line. This Strix OLED is going to be a little bit more affordable, but still uses the Tandem OLED technology. It just doesn't have a couple of the extra features like the dual mode, I think. But it has like the neo proximity sensor, so it turns black when you walk away to protect against burn and all that good stuff.
I'm pausing just for a plug, because you see that right next to that monitor. That is the new ROG NUC, which we're unboxing next week. This thing's been sitting in my room for like a week now. I cannot wait to unbox it, and then we're going to do a gaming stream with it. We're only going to have it here for a short while, but
yeah, but you guys have been asking us to check out the ROG NUC since we announced the first one last year, and we just like never really got around to getting our hands on with it. And so I was like,
look at that
we
thing.
gotta do this.
That tiny
so
little
small.
device,
so small,
has so much power. So very excited about that.
Cool. The last thing I want to mention, and something a lot of people are talking about in chat right now, is the Raichiri 2 controller. So I think you can skip to kind of toward the end of this video to see it. We announced a follow-up to our ROG Raichiri and Raichiri Pro controllers. This is the ROG Raichiri 2. A little bit further.
I'm finding it.
There you go. There you go. It's the one with Ethan. So the ROG Raichiri 2 kind of takes what we did with the Raichiri and improves upon it a lot. We wanted to make it feel more premium. It's got these nice kind of grips on the back. It's got the trigger stops and the back buttons, much like the original Raichiri that you guys liked, but the back buttons have been moved to kind of a better position.
The RGB on the side is super cool. I really like that.
The RGB lighting on the side is really cool. The really interesting thing about this, well, two interesting things. One is that the face buttons, the ABXY, use micro switches instead of like rubber domes. So they feel very different. They have a very clicky feel and sound, which I'm really excited to try out and kind of play with. We're using TMR joysticks, so really high quality joysticks that are going to last a long time. And if you saw briefly there when we showed the controller, it's got the same buttons as the ROG Xbox Ally. It's got the Armory crate and command center buttons. So if you are going to take your Xbox Ally and dock it to a TV or monitor with something like the Bulwark, like we mentioned earlier, the Raichiri is the perfect companion to that because you can bring up not just the Xbox app, because it is an Xbox licensed controller, it has an Xbox button, but you also have the command center and Armory crate buttons.
That's really cool.
Which I know a lot of people were asking for with the original Allies for those who docked it, because regular Xbox controllers don't have those buttons. So we heard you. Again, we heard you. We added it to this so that you guys have that flexibility.
I'm going to ask you a question there's the Bulwark. I'm going to ask you a question that you don't even know the answer to, I bet. I wonder if the command center button will work on a Z13, because that's one unique other device that also has a command center.
I absolutely do not know the answer to that question.
I knew you would.
Really good question.
But that's like, it's fun to think about how the Ally can influence the ROG ecosystem, right? We now have a controller that the Ally has influenced. The Z13 has its own command center that's been influenced by the Ally. So that's cool stuff.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that. So I'm really excited to get hands on with the Raichiri 2. I'm hoping that we can get one in soon. Maybe Jake can show it off and play some games with it here on this channel for you guys. But yeah, oh, and there's all the Hatsune stuff.
I paused it for you, Ritz. That was for you.
The case is awesome. There's two cases. There's one, the ROG Helios, the Strix Helios Miku edition, but then there's also an Asus, I think it's the A31, which is a white case. It's a little bit more understated, but still like ties in with all of the other Miku stuff. This was actually a really popular station at Gamescom.
Everybody go listen to the Miku song by Anna Monoguchi. Enjoy it. You're welcome.
So yeah, anyway, Gamescom was awesome. I was so happy that I got to go, and it was really valuable
About time.
to see all
You're
of the
overdue
feedback.
for a Gamescom.
Yeah, I was. They actually wanted me to go last year, but there was something else going on that we needed to be around for. So the boat was awesome, by the way. Such a cool place to have a booth, and you can see the cathedral from there.
Like, look, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was an awesome view.
Did you ever walk over the bridge? You always Uber over?
No, I Ubered. So I didn't. There were people that kind of walked back and forth between like the convention center and the boat and did some other stuff like that. I actually had to go across the river. That my hotel was across the river, and I actually had to go across the river to pick up a GPU from Anthony, who was staying at a different hotel, and bring it to the boat. Here, I was so busy this Gamescom. I literally had one day where I had to go to the booth to rehearse and then go back to the boat to give my presentation, because I was presenting the new monitors for media. And then I had to go back to the booth at night to continue my rehearsal. And so I was just like, I had like 3 days where every hour was scheduled.
It was booked,
and I did not have time to like leisurely walk back and forth between them. I was like racing in an Uber back and forth to make sure that I was there on time to do the stuff that I needed to do. So it was crazy, crazy busy, but so much fun. But I'm happy to be home and
I can imagine.
Sleeping.
Sleeping. Yeah.
Oh.
But well,
there you
guys,
guys go.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's gonna be it for our show. But
yeah.
I know you guys are really excited. We are too. I know you guys want to know more about pre-order and price. We're coming out with that soon. Bear with us. And very soon, hopefully, we'll have our own unit to show you guys some gaming performance, show you guys the new Xbox interface. We'll be writing some written guides for you too. So if you guys aren't following us, follow us, subscribe to us, go to rog.asus.com and look at the articles page there. We're going to have a ton of stuff for you there as we get up to launch. And of course, yes, join our Discord, !Discord and chat. You also find the link in the video description. Thank you, Andrew Baker, for posting that at exactly the right time that I wanted to mention it. Legend. But yeah, of course, keep it here. We're gonna be doing a lot more of these shows. Jake, you're gonna be streaming games with the ROG Xbox Ally when it comes out. But
as soon as I get one, as soon as I'm allowed, yeah.
Not yet. What are you streaming? Well, you're not streaming tomorrow, are you?
No stream tomorrow. I have some time off. Next week, I
thought about maybe streaming Hexiton and Heretic and Hexen tomorrow while you're gone.
Chat wouldn't be mad. Chat wouldn't be mad.
Guys, let me know in chat if you want me to stream Heretic and Hexen tomorw.
There's a new game called Chronos coming out. We are sneaking into spooky season, so like I definitely got
Jake's favorite.
Some Silent Hill F drops soon. I think that's on the list. And we got some other big games coming out as well. Silk Song comes out like next week. I've never played Hollow Knight, one of the most iconic Metroidvania, maybe the most iconic Metroidvania games ever. And I was planning on playing the first one leading into Silk Song. And then they're like, oh, by the way, it comes out in 2 weeks. I'm like, well, that doesn't work for me. But we got some big shows lined up. Like I mentioned, next week we will be unboxing the NUC and we'll be gaming on the NUC next week. I'm really stoked to just test out that thing's performance. That's really cool. The week following, the new Falcata, our split keyboard, that's going to be unboxed. We'll probably tie in the Harp 2 Ace with that because we've got so many shows coming up where I think we just got to slot it in there. I don't know if we can commit a whole show to the Harp 2 Ace with what we got going on. Then I think I've got a week off or few days off that next week. So probably no episode of Pulse. You'll have to figure something out without me because the week after that is going to be a BTF PC build. I've got an Astral 5090 BTF edition. We're going to be showing off the BTF ecosystem with our new Hyperion BTF case, the Astral BTF, and the new X870E BTF motherboard. And this is, again, to give you that sexy cable-free look, which, Whitson, you said you think the cables give it character. You like to buy custom cables and manage it and make it look really nice. I do. Yeah. And I get it. Everybody has their own preference, right? Some people are like, I like the old way. For me, I want as little as I want to see the RGB in all its glory. I don't want cables interrupting my beautiful Astral RGB bar on the side.
I cannot deny that the BTF PCs look sick.
Yeah.
And I know a lot, we see people in the Discord talking about all the time wanting to build a full BTF PC. So I know a lot of people love it. And I love that, like, I do think that it probably is the future in a lot of ways, right? Yeah. And there's so much cool stuff you can do with it. Like, I mean, like that 30th anniversary graphics card. So I am actually really excited to see that PC build come together.
It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, September is going to be stacked. And then October, the Ally X Xbox and original version come out. I said that in all the wrong order, but that's okay.
That was completely wrong order.
ROG Xbox Ally and Ally X. There you go. We fixed it. But
October 16th.
Yeah.
Coming to a store near you.
Pre-orders soon, TM, but I think that's it for us, guys. Thank you for joining us today. And maybe you'll see Whitson tomorrow. If not, we'll see you next week. GG's.
See you guys.